Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy A, and this may actually be the last med school Monday. Wow, okay, let's talk about it. Hey, lights, please. Thank you. I don't want the light. That's my office. Use the red button. Which one? No, it's not the one. No, it's that one. Which one? No, the one in your hand. The one in your hand, yeah. So I know you're reading the title and you're just like, where have you been? What has been going on? So I guess I should start from the top. Failed step. Yeah, so the last video you guys saw, I was having like a breakdown because I was just feeling incompetent. I was going through so much. But there was so much behind that. There was a backstory. There was a front story. A lot has happened. So I guess I should start from the beginning, this time last year. Alright, so I want to keep this as short as possible. I got a bus to catch, but let me just go ahead and tell you guys what happened. It all started it all started a long time ago. No, I'm just joking. It started last year. I was in my 5th year of my program, or you would say my 2nd year of medical school, M2. School was a bit hard. And it wasn't like the material wise. It was more that there was a lot of stuff happening in my school, like the school community in regards to racism, a lot of politics. The administration was against the students was against the administration. There was just a lot going on, especially with racism. And I'm one of those people, like, I rather speak up so that my voice is heard, but in doing so, that allowed for a lot more responsibility than I didn't realize I was taking on. And a lot of the Black students, especially those in the M2 years, ended up having to do a lot to ensure that we felt safe in our school. Because there was a lot of things going on where we did not feel safe for a very long time, and it was like a big deal. So taking that stuff on, and then also trying to focus on our M2, and M2 classes weren't really going as well as they could. We didn't have a path professor. We didn't have a physio professor. And learning repro, learning neuro, learning all these really hardcore, pretty in-depth subjects was really difficult. But, I did what I did for M1, which was basically, M1, what did I do? I basically used my textbooks and did all I had to do. Cool. So that occurred. And it was just a lot to maintain because, a lot of the times when I could have been studying, I could have been taking, just focusing on me, I blame myself. I was more focused on my safety. And as a Black student, it's a lot to have to handle. There's no even a safe environment for you to study and feel at peace at because you're so worried about what's going on around you. So that was really frustrating because all the times where my white counterparts or just anyone that wasn't Black, when they were sitting and they could study freely, my heart was heavy because I'm over here carrying on the burden of all the other Black people in my school, which is a lot. And, I can only blame myself, but at the end of the day, it did help the people that it needed to help. And it made the environment a little bit more safe for us at the time being. But, when there's not enough force, this stuff goes back to the way it was, unfortunately. I went to the PASS program in March, April. At that time, they were only giving us exactly 6 weeks to study. When I went to the PASS program, I learned a lot of information. That program is pretty good, especially if you already know your material. It's a perfect way to put everything together, and it makes you learn things for real, and not just base it off of, I don't know, just the textbook and memorization, because I was really good at that. That's what the upper years in my school told us to do, and that's what we were just kind of geared toward. Yeah, so basically I was in the program, and that video occurred. At the time, we only had 6 weeks to study. 6 weeks is great. That's usually the baseline number for any med school in the US. However, for me, 6 weeks wasn't enough. And the reason why I say that is because this entire time, I feel like there were a lot of gaps in our learning, especially with I was in the inaugural year, the first year of our medical school. There were a lot of corners that were cut, and which means a lot of topics weren't taught. And unfortunately, because I just depended on the school to teach me what I need to know, or at least give me a baseline, I didn't know there was a lot of things I didn't know, basically, until I got to the PASS program, which is why I had that big breakdown, because I'm just like, I don't have enough time. I don't feel smart enough. I just don't feel like I'm having a hard time processing, because it was just as though like I didn't know anything. Like I walked into that program thinking I knew things, but I actually knew nothing. Okay. And it's crazy because how can I know nothing and go into a program and not be ready at all to take this exam? However, I was scoring really high and really well during all of M1 and M2 with my, basically, what would you call them, my mini boards. They were customized and all that. So it just seemed, there was a lot of funny business going on. And, you know, it was really frustrating, because all this time I was thinking that I'm studying, I'm getting above the mean and the average, I'm working really hard, getting really good scores, understanding my material to the best of my ability, but there was a lot of gaps. And I realized that when they were teaching us the modules, like they'll teach us respiratory, teach us cardio, it was their first time teaching it. And they never once made it a whole, like, intertwined the modules in any way, or just like reminded us of things that would happen in earlier modules. It's more of like, if you're learning the heart, you only learn the heart, and you wouldn't even learn any accessory things that you need to know to understand the heart. So what we were taught was just basically very, very, very memorized based. And because our last year we had no pathology teacher, no physio teacher, there was no one to bring it as a whole. We were just having specialists within each sector in each field, that it was just a really not a good conducive learning environment for me. And I realize now I didn't learn what I need to learn, which is unfortunate, because I paid all this money and here we are. So basically that program occurred. We had 6 weeks to take our exam. I was supposed to take it on May 4th. I did not sit for the May 4th exam because I just wasn't ready. My NBME scores weren't not even nowhere near passing, and it just kept happening like that consecutively, and I felt like I wasn't studying the way I should have been, and it was just very frustrating. Unfortunately, at that time they said that we only had those 6 weeks, and if we were to extend by any amount, then we would automatically be in the year below us, and we'd have to prescribe a whole year. And I'm just like, why would we have to prescribe a whole year when we have an extra whole month and a half of vacation time? Basically, our school was trying to rush us to take the exam by May 4th, even though we didn't really start rotations until June 25th. So that entire time, I'm like fighting with administration, fighting really hard, sending emails back and forth, calling, begging and pleading, just asking them to give me time. And instead of them to just give me like, okay, you can take it by the time you start rotations, they were like, oh, 1 week. Okay, you have 2 weeks. Okay, you have 1 week. So while I'm trying to balance and understand the material and push through, I'm also trying to fight with my administration for them to give me ample amount of time to study for it. And because I didn't want to be like a lot of the students in my class that were forced to take the exam because they passed with a 196. And unfortunately, you know, that's the score they ended up getting. So that's not what you really want, you know. You watching this video, you know 196 ain't getting you nowhere. Well, it could get you somewhere, but it's just like it's not what you want when you want to move forward for residency. Okay, so when I got back from Chicago, I decided to go to Harlem because all my roommates had already taken the exam. I didn't want to be in that environment where I just felt like I was the only one struggling. So I went to my parents' home, which is pretty isolated. No one was around. Wow, it's hot and I'm really sweating. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Okay. I was really isolated. I didn't really have anybody there except for my best friend, my parents, and it was kind of weird adjusting. So basically I was adjusting staying in my parents' home after 5 years of not being home, which was a lot, okay, and also figuring out how to study the right way, and just there was a lot of stress and anxiety towards it. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, my grades or my NBMEs weren't scoring. I was taking one every single week. And it was almost like I was wasting them because even though I thought I was moving up, I would move up a little. Then my really good friend Neka, one day I have to finish having a call with one of the deans that was just made my life a living hell. I called her and I was like, hey, so this is what's happening. She's like, oh my gosh, like I can help you, we can do this. And she had already taken her exam and she had already scored pretty decently. Wasn't the score she wanted theoretical, but she scored pretty well. So if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have made it to even taking the exam at all. And she was just like, this is what you should do, and this is how I worked, and giving me all her resources, and just having that amazing support system there was really something that pushed me, because I do not believe I would have even taken the exam. No, I definitely wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have been mentally prepared. So 2 or 3 weeks passed, and we're getting closer to the day of rotation in clerkships. So I'm still fighting with my deans. That wasn't going too well. I'm still trying to get my headspace in the right space. Like, okay, you are smart, you are competent, because at the end of the day, it's not about how much you know, it's how confident you feel when you walk into that exam. Excuse the steam in my glasses. It's actually kind of hot in this room. Anywho, it's so easy to kind of psych yourself out of taking the exam, and at the end of the day, you're going to need that mental strength and stability to get you through the 8 hours, because it's a very long test. 1 week, I was like, God, if I don't pass today, then, let me just relax, just take a year of absence, relax, get my brain together, and retake the exam. And then I passed, and I'm like, what? Told NECA, we're like, okay, cool. I studied the same way. Next week, went up 15 points. What? Next week, went up another 15 points. What? And now I'm at 200, I'm at like a 230, 220. Took another, and I went up again. I'm like, okay. So technically, my predicted NDMU was at 230, and I'm just like, wow. Like, only God could have gotten me to this point, to be able to have a predicted score of like a 230 something. Even that's not what I wanted. That's definitely better than what I was getting beforehand. So go, and after begging and pleading and just jumping through hoops of fire, my school was like, you know what, you can take your exam and then you just start rotations or whatever. I was like, okay, sure. I took my exam on June 25th, I believe, the first day of our orientation for clerkships. I didn't really miss much. Took the exam. I thought it went pretty well. It was just so long. I got so many interesting questions or whatever. Well, of course, you can't talk about them. After that first week of orientation, the next week I started my psych rotation, but I started with neuro, ended up loving neuro, and I was just like, oh my gosh, maybe I want to do neuro. Neuro is amazing. Love it. It was amazing. Loved it. Then I started my psych rotation on that third week, and I was on psych consults. I remember it was a Wednesday, because Wednesdays are when step scores come out. Kept refreshing my phone. Finally got that alert. I asked my preceptor, can I go to the bathroom? She was like, yeah, sure, why not? Go ahead. Went to the bathroom, and then I filmed this. Hey guys, so I'm currently throwing it out. I'm in psych consults right now. I'm in the hospital, and I can't even breathe. Like, I've been checking and seeing my score. My score is out, and I'm just so nervous. Oh my God, like my chest. My phone's clear though. This is the selfie part. Oh, hi. Okay. Let me see if I can. And then I looked at my score, and I had failed by a few points. And honestly, it was a mind-boggling experience, because my brain wasn't understanding or computing, or it was just not making sense to me. I had basically, imagine me sitting in the psych ward having a full-on, like in the bathroom, because it wasn't like a communal bathroom, it was a bathroom that was like inside of the hallway or something, and I was having a full-on panic attack. I'm pretty much a germaphobe, but I was sitting on the floor of a psych ward bathroom, basically having a full-on panic, rocking back and forth. Called my mom, she didn't pick up. Called my dad, and he was like, oh, you passed, right? I'm like, no, he didn't know what to say. Called my best friend, she didn't know what to say. And it's just like, no one knows what to say, because we weren't expecting this, especially with my predicted score being a pretty okay score. Me failing by a few points wasn't just me failing by a few points. Me failing by those few points was actually me failing by over 30 plus points, because I was supposed to get a 230 something or whatever, right? So I didn't know what to do. I was just panicking. Like, I couldn't breathe. My brain, it's one of the worst feelings, because no one was expecting it. No one knew that was going to happen. I didn't know how to understand it. I was just saying, oh my God, I failed. And I just didn't understand what that meant. I went to my preceptor, and she looked at me, she's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm fine. I have family emergency. Can I go home? She's like, yeah, go home. Sure, why not? Cool. So, of course, there were no Ubers that day, so I couldn't even be alone with my thoughts. in the back of someone's car. I had to take a public transportation. Taking a public transportation in that state, I honestly, my head was all over the place. I probably looked like a psych patient because there was boogers everywhere. I was in my white coat, and I was wearing a little concealer or whatever. So like, after I wiped my face with my arms, you had makeup all over my sleeves. I just looked a train wreck, and I didn't know who to call. Neka had just finished her 24-hour call in surgery, so she was sleeping, okay? My other friends didn't really say much. I just didn't know what to say. Like, it was just a lot. And I know I was in a really bad headspace because I didn't realize I was walking into oncoming traffic due to me being just in a daze. And, yeah, it's just... I almost got hit by a bus, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, it didn't even faze me until, like, sitting back and thinking about what happened that day, like, reliving those moments. And it was just a lot to take in. I went home, closed my blinds, and I just cried for days on end because I just did it. It was more like I was grieving that life I thought I was supposed to have, because if you think about it, like, you're on a set path and now this is a derailment, but it's like a large derailment because it's like, what am I supposed to do with my life now? Not that your life is over, but it's just like, I just thought I was on a certain path, and now that's not how my life was looking. And because my school has their interesting rules, because I failed, I wouldn't be able to be in that year anymore. So not only did I fail, I failed out of my year. So yeah, so I'm no longer part of class of 2020. And that was also a lot to handle because I've been with these people since the age of 17, 18. We're now 23. And I only have 2 more years to go in this freaking program, and you just fail out like that. So it's a lot. I was going through a lot of depression. Or just not, I don't think it was depression, but it was just some deep sadness. And I was going through a lot. It was a lot for me. And then there were days that I was like, oh, okay, cool, I got this. I'm gonna move, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then the next day I'll be super sad and not want to get out of bed. And the next thing you know, 2 months went by, and here we are. So, yeah, I don't know. So a lot has changed. I'm not in school right now. I'm studying for my retake. And I also am thinking about dropping out of medical school. I'll go into a video about that later, but yeah, I don't know if this is what I want to do anymore. And now that I have the chance to think about me for a whole year and do whatever I want for a whole year, I don't know if this is what I want to spend my time and my money doing. So yeah, this might be the last of Med School Mondays. I do have a whole bunch of vlogs from basically January until now that will be coming up in the coming weeks as I study for my step retake. But yeah, that's a life update. I want to thank you guys for the kind words, because honestly, when I put that last video up, I was just putting it up so that I put these videos up for me, not just for you, I love you guys, but for me, just so that I can go back and watch them and be like, yo, this is a time that you've overcome something. And just reading your comments. I think I'm gonna have a video where I read all the comments that you guys gave me, because honestly, the words of encouragement, I feel like everyone should be able to hear that. Yeah, so I just want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the constant, just amazing words and just everything you guys give. I appreciate it. Don't know what this channel is going to consist of. Just know I am going back into nursing because we need to make money and we need to pay for rent, okay? And I'm going to be publishing a lot of my research papers that I've been writing. So it should be an interesting year. I don't know if it includes medicine anymore in regards to becoming a doctor, but we'll figure it out. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you want to see any of my Black Girl Chit Chat videos, they'll be popping up on the screen. If you want to see any of my hair videos, popping up on the screen, as well as the rest of my Med School Monday videos and Med School videos and vlogs and all that. Stay blessed. Thanks again. Catch you next time, hopefully.